Fucking cheers. 3, 2, 1. Let's fucking pop it off. Down the whole.
Just puke on the fucking first podcast.
Hi, it's Alex Sandy. We're wasted here.
We're way too drunk.
Welcome to the number one first podcast.
Welcome.
So we were just talking a little bit about your previous work experience. You're currently a bartender technically. Are you still employed by Tavern?
Laid off bartender.
Laid off. He's looking for work. So
Yeah,
if you want a personal bartender, hit him up.
I will work for you for money and sexual favors.
You can also change your tire. So
Yeah.
I think the female demographic would be really nice for this one. I think you can really target them. I'll help you with your marketing strategy, your personalized bartending
and tire service. They kind of go together, honestly.
Just get fucked up with your tire guy. But you were telling me that your first job wasn't, or your first bartending gig was at a hospital bar.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about this.
I was hired straight out the gate at Canada's Health Sciences Center. It's the only hospital in all of Canada that has a hotel inside the hospital.
Okay.
So in that hotel, there was a bar that opened freshly. I was hired. No experience as a bartender, thrown right in, zero training, no experience. They just go, just bartend now. You're our only bartender. You have no experience. We haven't trained you.
You're the only one?
I was the only guy there.
And there's no training.
There was no training. There was 2 weeks of we watched a PowerPoint slides.
Oh, you learned off a PowerPoint slide.
Because that's real life experience, right? And then we actually got thrown in the bar, and I'm I have no idea what I'm doing. It was terrifying. Plus, it was in a hospital, so you had just a variety of people going through horrible medical conditions. You did have the occasional pregnancy, which was sweet, a little baby and celebrate. But mostly it was
you
people
serve pregnant women, is trying to say.
Yes, I was trying
exclusively pregnant women.
Yeah, I was trying to. Yeah, so I was trying. I would have to deal with so many people with different medical conditions, people dying of cancer. I had to comfort people crying in my bar almost every every week.
Shit.
Yeah, it was really surreal, and I had very little experience working. I had zero experience working as a service person. Never mind dealing with somebody in the middle of a life crisis. So it was a huge life learning experience for me.
Wow.
Very little bartending experience, but I learned a lot about how dealing with people and how to comfort people. That's valuable lifelong experience.
That's crazy. And what'd you learn about that?
To listen more to people, because I used to just think that you need to tell them the right thing. It's just the right words you need to tell somebody to comfort them. When in reality, people just really need to be listened to, and step back and just be an ear.
Yeah.
But you don't need to say. Sometimes there's just nothing you can say.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm a 25-year-old kid who's barely lived.
Yeah.
What am I going to tell somebody who has a son dying in the other room, or they just pulled the plug on?
Holy shit, that is some heavy shit.
Right?
How was that after work? You just go home
horrible.
and just holy shit.
Yeah, it was stressful, but I mean, I'm happy I did it. I'm happy I went through that, and now I'm into more of a nightlife side when we have a nightlife.
Yeah, legit. And so, how long were you at this the hospital bar?
Just over a year.
Okay, that sounds like such an interesting gig. Personally, I just worked at Applebee's for just over a year.
So
I didn't
just as many
comfort
depressed
anyone
people.
Or
I feel like there's just as many depressed people in a hospital.
There might be. Mostly the employees. And fucking hockey boys from the country getting drunk on $2 beers.
I'm sure they're great. They're great staff. Or they're great customers.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty good. Never too many. I feel like there's a lot of old people and they wouldn't tip that well. And then there was a lot of kind of younger people who also wouldn't tip that well. So it was not a great place for tip. Plus, I think the key factor is, I don't know if you noticed this now that you're bartending, but we never had that 15% or 10% or whatever.
You just built-in gratuity.
Yeah, or you never even on the machine itself.
Oh.
You don't you
no options.
There's no options, so you just put in an amount. And usually other places start with a 15% option, then 20, 25. And I think that's what skews people to put more. But if you give them the option, they're just not gonna they're fuck this. And I think it goes in dollar amounts too most of the time. So it's just they're oh fuck it, we'll just around 10%. And I'm well, that goes mostly to the back anyways. Whatever.
Yeah. But whenever I'm in an Applebee's, I'm like, I'm paying way too much money.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, hey.
I'm ready. This is a depressing experience. I need to get out of here.
Because their food is like full price. Like they charge you like a real restaurant,
that's what
and then you're like, fuck this. But yeah, I liked working there. The people were dope. The place was nice. Had a good soundtrack too. It was all a good vibe overall. I really fucking vibe there. But yeah, one thing I do want to try out. So like a nightlife theme kind of podcast thing, and asking people like, so what would be one of your best nights out or favorite nights out, or maybe best venue?
Best venue in the city that I've ever been to?
Best venue I've ever been to overall.
Oh wow.
EDC can't count.
Yeah, can you count festivals?
It has like an actual venue.
Yeah, count festivals. The Armory in Minneapolis was one of the.
Shit.
I think that was the best venue I've ever been to.
I've heard of it.
Not a club, but like a event center.
Yeah.
But it's like a mega church, an old mega church that was turned into a club. Not club, an event center.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous, beautiful bathrooms, luxury style bathrooms, huge,
Shit.
like actually clean. you know, events and you're like, oh no, the fucking bathrooms. You go in, everything's super like top tier luxury, like even like in a Vegas hotel. It's beautiful. It's tons of space. It keeps cool. Like you don't get overheated because it's made for packing thousands of people into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the Alchemy tour there, so that was like Glitch Mob. I'm gonna blank on the other names. There's Seven Lions.
Josh is a big fan.
And Good Vibrations, Slander, and oh shit, I'm gonna blank on the last name. Slander, and I can't remember. But it was a phenomenal show. Probably one of the best I've ever seen.
That's fucking crazy.
Seven Lions Killed. What about you? What's the top tier?
Before I did see Glitch Mob at Quebec City. At a festival there. It's called Festival d'Eté, and it was so. Did they do the thing with the drums where like they hit the drums and it fucking goes nuts?
Oh yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
I love it when it's like more interactive. It's like more like real instruments
Live
and shit.
Instrumentation.
Yeah, it fucking makes it so much more involved. And they were opening up for Dead Mouse, and Dead Mouse was really sick there.
You said that was a good set.
That was good. We had to leave halfway. So I was like, where was I? I was in grade 11 going to grade 12. And I was doing the Explore program in Quebec City. And you had a curfew. I don't know if you had a curfew every night, but definitely this night we had a curfew that we were breaking to see Dead Mouse. And we're like, hey, fuck it. And there was a couple buddies like, you guys want to just break it to like see Dead Mouse? And we're drinking all night, and like we're 17, like we're not supposed to be drinking. And we finally get back to like our thing. But we see Dead Mouse, super sick, obviously the whole setup. We have to like leave halfway through about.
The cube.
The fucking cube, yeah.
Version
like,
2 cube.
Oh my god. So sick. And then we get back, and then we get grilled. There's like 5 of us. We get grilled on like, you guys smell like alcohol. What the hell? What the fuck's going on? And we're like, no. It's like people are just pouring alcohol on us. Like it's crazy out there.
Secondhand alcohol,
bro. Like it's just secondhand in my mouth. Like we're just like pouring.
You're 17. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're expecting. Like, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I think actually I was 16, but everyone else was 17. I was like in summer or whatever. But yeah, like legit. And one of our buddies was already on short strings. We were just covering his ass like the whole time. Like no, he did nothing. Blah blah blah. And then we all barely like sketched it through, and made it out. But that was a good time. That whole festival was super sick. $70, 2 weeks, and it's like headliners. It's like outdoor in Quebec City.
Okay.
Quebec City's beautiful. Have you been?
No, I've never been to Montreal or not to Quebec City. I've never been to Quebec.
Quebec?
At all.
We should go.
Yes, I want to go.
We should go. Mish has connections in fucking
Yes, I'd love to like live there for extended period. Like I have a French family, so I'd like to like reinvigorate my French side.
And does your French family live in like Montreal and stuff?
No, there's some the extended family, none that I know personally that live in Montreal, but most of them live in like Ontario, like southern French cities in Ontario. So
fair enough. That's fucking we need to do. Montreal in the summer is insane. Like it's just non-stop festivals, non-stop like nightlife, and it's super sick.
There's seem like they have like a really artsy culture and just like a great nightlife, great art scene, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like when I went there the first time, I was super into like streetwear and like clothing stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, and at that point I was just looking up Canadian brands, whatever, and so many are based out of like Montreal, like Art Gang to like Raised by Wolves and a few
Okay.
others. They're just like the really cool streetwear brands that are
Yeah.
just like based out of there, and it's like per capita they're probably the most like artsy shit. Anyway, like they compete with Toronto, even though Toronto's like 3 times the size, and just like they really fucking push it. And it's so when I was there, they were projecting shit on the buildings like everywhere.
Which festival that was in Oshiaga, was it?
The one that were projecting which one?
The one that you went to see Deadmau5.
That was I've been to Oshiaga. That one, this was called Festival d'Été, and that's Quebec City, so it's like a different city. And just kind of low key. No one knows it. Like it's not as well known, but it has an insane amount of headliners. It's so cheap. Like they had like, amazing. And it's like a mixed thing, like Oshiaga. So one night was all EDM, so like Glitch Mob, Deadmau5, but another one was rap, and it was like, they had Joey Badass, and then they had ASAP Mob.
Nice.
ASAP Mob was actually maybe one of the best concerts.
20 of them?
All like, I don't know. There was just
there's like dozens. There's dozens of them.
There was at least like 7 on stage. There was like Ferg and Rocky and
nice.
like
Those are the two
all of them.
ones.
Yeah, and it was before Ferg really blew up and started doing like kind of like he was kind of coming up at the time.
Yeah.
And that's up there with one of my best concerts ever.
Oh, I bet.
It's because it's like the energy when there's 7 people on stage and they're all going nuts and like, bro. And then they were opening up for Snoop Dogg.
Oh, nice.
So it was like fucking
Legendary.
crazy lineup. Yeah. And fucking ASAP Rocky in his in the middle, he's like, stop music. He like goes up to like a little ledge, talk to people. It's like, okay, I want to see a mosh pit right over here. Okay, everyone. Goes to the other side of the stage. He's like, I want to see another mosh pit right here. And now when the beats drops, I want you to turn to the person on the left and punch him in the face. And everyone's like, bro, everyone's just like, what? I'm like, don't punch me in the face. And everyone's like, shit.
He's just trying to like turn the crowd into chaos.
Legit, and everyone's like, holy shit. And then it's he plays Wild for
everyone
the night.
give me $20 out of your pocket.
Yeah. Everyone stab everyone. What the fuck? Yeah, that's like one of the most. It's just fucked up. It's like, thank God no one punched in the face, but like, I'm sure you've been to mosh pits. But once that happens, like, when people start making big circles, everyone starts getting pushed around. You start losing your friends, and everyone gets fucking dislocated. And it was a fucking great time. I didn't get punched in the face.
Yeah, I find mosh pits can be great energy. It really depends. I find hip hop shows mosh pits tend to be a little bit more like aggressive to like punch a guy in the face kind of vibe.
Yeah.
But when I've been to like the Basehead at EDC like mosh pits, those people like there's no like malintent. It's like they're not trying to like hurt you. They're just trying to like release energy. Everyone's just like really high, and they're just like, I just want to throw my body into other bodies.
I've never been into one of those. I've never even seen like an EDM mosh pit.
Have you? Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I guess like some of the festivals you've been to wouldn't have them, but it's like the really bassy stages where you're gonna get those kind of mosh pits.
Yeah, I guess like more like dubstep kind of vibe.
Yeah, dubstep, heavy dubstep, some trap. Honestly, like you think on Molly you would want to like hug people and be like super lovey, and you can. But you can also just like throw yourself into a mosh pit and just release all that energy that way, and it's loving. It honestly, I've been in loving mosh pits. People pick people up and care. Like they're not there to hurt each other. They're just like the most
aggressive hugs you'll ever see. You're like, oh my God, I love you, bro. I love you, bro.
Super aggressive cuddle party. That's what it is. It's all love, but like throwing at each other super energetically, and it's great. I love mosh pits. It's one of my favorite.
And even rap mosh pits?
I have been, but yeah, like I haven't been to as many hip hop shows. I went to a festival back in 2015 called the One Love Festival in Calgary, and that had a really good hip hop lineup. It had like J. Cole and Nas were headlining, who are like 2 of my favorites of all time. Travis was supposed to be there, but he bailed to drop Rodeo. And it had Wale, Raekwon from Wu-Tang, and MGK. MGK's mosh pit was fucking crazy.
Really?
You just have all these like young rich white boys though. It's like thinking
they're like teen angst.
Yeah, like teen angst. It's like you tell these
like emo, like eyeliner. It's like you got eyeliner on me, bro.
And they're like Supremes and like expensive Timbs, and like I feel like they're trying to like, this is what black culture is like being aggressive and a douchebag, and it's like, no, like you're just a douchebag. It's like no one's vibing with you. It was really mean. Like it rained the entire time. It went from like 1 p.m. to like midnight, and the entire time it rained nonstop. And then it got so cold. It was a historic September cold in Calgary. So it's like -5 at a certain point. and it just started to snow. Like the rain just turned into snow.
Oh my god!
It was
freezing.
so horrible. It was so free. It was so wet and cold. But the energy of the crowd like kept you going, and like the performance went hard. So it was worth it. But the energy was kind of fucking mean. Like someone like took somebody's umbrella and like threw it on the ground, like stomped on it. And everyone around them was like, "Fuck your umbrella, bro!" And everybody just like turned. Like, dude, what the fuck? You're not the kind of energy I like.
Why fuck an umbrella,
yeah,
bro?
Like, trying to protect us. Like, I want some shield from this fucking rain. It's like, what do you? It was just
That's
anarchy.
the battle we need.
It was
Fuck
just,
your umbrella.
It was just like anarchy for anarchy's sake, and I just hated it. It's just like I felt like these guys, like these rich whites, just want an outlet, just to be mean, to be like aggressive, and it's like I don't like this energy. Hip hop shows were great. Energy was fucking terrible, and I find heavy EDM shows you never get that kind of vibe. I don't know about you. I've never experienced
that makes
that
sense.
kind of
And
vibe.
well, every EDM show I've been to, it's like it's never been an aggressive vibe.
But even those people, man, they're so nice. You go to like hardstyle stages at like EDC, the most hard shit you can get. And everyone's just like super jamming out and just like vibing so hard. And there's like a bunch of jacked, swole dudes just like dancing like they're fucking on speed.
Yeah.
It's a positive atmosphere. It's like there's nothing mean about it, you know?
Yeah, I feel like I can get into it. I don't like that type of music, but I could mosh. Like I get really energetic and like could get into that.
Yeah.
I've never really been in a mosh. I've been in and around a mosh. I'm like fucked up, even at rap concerts. But I think this could get me into the music. Like moshing to like dubstep, I can understand that.
It hurts. It fucking hurts. You feel.
What's your technique? What's your approach when you mosh pit? You go for pushing? What is?
I push my body off of other people, but usually like I just kind of throw myself in. I kind of body check. I don't throw elbows. I'm not that kind of guy.
Oh, that's pretty.
But like
wild.
I kind of just throw my body in and let my body get taken by the energy. And
That's
I just
cool.
you just kind of bounce around at a certain point. You lose track of your senses and where you're going. But like I usually leave it to like the last night of the festival to like really go in a mosh pit because you're gonna hurt yourself.
That makes
like
sense.
it's not a mosh pit unless somebody gets hurt, right? Like,
Yeah,
Travis Scott said.
It's a bunch of fucking drunk people and then like or like inebriated people in some sort of way, just like physically attacking each other.
Yeah.
But it seems nice if we get to hug at the end, at least.
You can hug it out after.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely worth it. I highly recommend.
Yeah. So for me, I think you asked me what my best night out or
You asked about venue, but you
or
said,
venue. Yeah. That's a tough. I've been to some pretty cool in terms of like actual club venues. In Europe, there's a few good ones, and there's one in Buenos Aires that really stands out. But this one, I would say, okay, I would have to top it with this one in Barcelona called Input, and I still follow them. And it's just partly just like the location of it. Like I didn't know it. And you know Joris Voorn, right? And I didn't even know Joris Voorn at the time.
Yeah.
I was just on this thing called RA Guide, like an app that they have. I'm not sure if you know it.
No.
Anyways, pretty much when I was in Europe, I was like doing a rave tour using this app,
Oh,
being like,
sick.
okay, who's playing here when I'm here, blah blah blah, and I'm like Joris Voorn. I didn't know him, so I went on Spotify. I'm like, oh yes, yes, I can get into this.
Yeah.
And I ditched the pub crawl. I ended up actually running through the streets of Barcelona because I was scared of getting mugged. Because all these like windy streets in the old town, I'm like, someone could definitely mug me. But if I'm running, by the time they realize they could mug me, I'm already like too far away. Like mug someone else. That's my whole theory. And then I go up to this place, and you're like, what the fuck? This is a castle on the side of the mountain, like in Barcelona.
Oh my God.
And you get in, and then like the door is like there's a huge castle, and there's like the door to get in is you just get into the castle, and there's a big winding road with like little shops and stuff. So you can stop for pizza.
Wow.
And then it's like you're in a castle too, like in like a thing.
That's
it's really
crazy.
cool. And then you in the corner there's Input Dance like nightclub, and it's just the best like in terms of acoustics, in terms of like lighting, like crazy lasers, and like the vibe was top notch. It was just like a really good, like they did lights so well, digital like screens everywhere. The sound was so good. It was just like it was just a good show. And the only downside I would say was maybe like they just packed it too much. They just like shoved as many people as they could into it. So you're like a little bit sardined. But if you can find a good spot, which we eventually did, that was a really cool venue. And the other one was really good in Buenos Aires was like on the coast, and the vibe there was. I love South American places. Like the vibe at South American places are just like everyone's dancing, everyone's like vibing way more, and just like more interaction with each other, and like
more expressive
and like less creepy. I don't know. Like that's what I got the vibe from, and like it was on the coast. It was really almost like, even though it was a club night, there was like girls with like flower crowns and shit like that. So it was very more like festival vibe already. Even though like the biggest festivals in the world aren't really targeting South America, but like the club, the fact that the club culture is there, I thought that was fascinating. And yeah, you get to see the sunrise at like fucking, because it goes till 7 a.m.
That is one of the coolest things at a festival, is to see the sunrise.
Yeah,
as a group.
It's fucking fantastic. You're just like, oh, that's what we, like in like Folk Fest, we do that all the time too. Just like go to Pope's Hill and just watch the sunrise.
How many sunrises do you think you've watched in your entire life? Because it's like
from festivals or all
in general. Because like sunsets, I might have seen hundreds, but like if I actually had to count sunrises, it's probably like under 20 in my entire life. I've sat there and watched. That's why they're really special, right? Like very few people actually like spend the time to, myself included, spend the time and actually watch a sunrise.
And I would say most of them I've seen have been like from festivals or something, like where you stay up all night.
Yeah, it's surreal because you never watch it, and then suddenly you're watching it and you're with a group of people like all loving each other and just like a great atmosphere. Like this is fucking awesome.
Yeah. Oh my god, I can only imagine. I guess the EDC has that too, where you just like stay up all night and you just watch the sunrise.
I do it at least one night every year, but it's usually pretty hard to make it to that point.
Yeah.
Depending what time you start at. Like, it's just 24/7. Like, there's non-stop dance parties throughout the entire EDC. Like, you can go dance for 72 hours straight if you want there. There will be music playing somewhere. You will find a stage. You will find a stage playing music.
Yeah.
All hours of the night. So, it's your own, like, plan.
And what would you recommend to anyone doing EDC for the first time? What's your approach?
I definitely say see more of the artists that you haven't heard of yet. Like take more opportunities to see people that you've never heard of that intrigue you. Take random chances. Go to the smaller stages. You know, someone tells you go check that out. Go check out that artist. Don't, if you follow like the bigger names, and you follow your friends around to a set you don't want to see as much just because you're trying to follow your friends, it's going to end up ruining your experience. Like just follow your heart and take it where you go, because like at the end of the day, it's your own personal experience, and like you no matter who you're with, you're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, it's
a 24/7 great time there, no matter.
And you can like meet people when you go to these shows. That, like,
exactly, everyone there is pretty nice. I mean, like there's some weird sentiment at EDC. A lot of people that are like, I think a little bit more narcissistic and like look at me kind of mentality, a little but I think overall the player is pretty out there.
And like that look at me, it's like they go there to be seen.
Yeah, it's kind of like Coachella,
like the Coachella.
Yeah, take a picture of me and like girls like dragging their boyfriends, screaming like, "We're gonna miss Steve Aoki," and like freaking the fuck out, and you're in paradise right now. You're literally like in the happiest place on earth, and you're miserable. So I don't know how that's possible. Yeah. Anywhere you go, ADC is great. You just like lie down and like see the light tents they've set up, and there's like classical music playing, and there's like,
oh wow,
like those Windows Media Player like kind of trippy optical illusions like in the lights. It almost like tells a story in its own way through the classical music. It's everything is so great. They put so much money into everything. You should see it all. It's hard to see it all, but like make sure the first night go walk around, see everything before you decide I'm gonna spend the entire festival at main stage seeing Armin van Buuren and Steve Aoki. Even though they're great, they do great shows, but my best experiences have been on kind of like the things I didn't expect, the people I didn't expect to see, the artists I didn't expect to like, those are usually the most memorable experiences. And do you listen to those artists nowadays too? Like, is there any one that stood out for you from the ones that I've seen? Like one of those side stages that you were just like. The last year's Kaztech, he was like a low key DJ, like house DJ, and I was just like waiting for friends in between like stages at a tiny stage, and I just couldn't stop dancing. I was like, this guy's like, I'm trying to like find my friends, and like I can't stop dancing. This guy's so good. I'm like, who is this dude? I'm gonna Shazam him, like nothing's coming up. I'm like, the fuck. And I got home and I got his I finally like went back and found his Spotify profile, and he's quite a bit bigger now, and he's great. Whipped Cream, she's pretty huge. She wasn't at the smaller stages, but I found her out by someone's random suggestion last year. She has like kind of like a res vibe, like dark, ethereal, kind of trappy vibe. She's great, phenomenal. I'm so happy I found her when I did.
Damn, that's so. I don't know either of those artists, but I feel like I should check them out.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd like them.
That's fucking fantastic. I can't wait to go to EDC one day if they ever have it.
Yeah,
if it ever happens again.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I've spent so much money at EDC. I had.
You've been how many times?
Only 2 times. But
okay.
Man, it's so expensive. Vegas is just so expensive.
And did you camp out, or did you do
I
like
camped
the Vegas?
both times.
Cool.
There was the first 2 years I did camping. I did camping each time, and that's the way to do it. I mean, I've never done a hotel, but that's the experience. But like, I don't know. You've probably seen like better festivals in terms of experience, I think, than EDC. Like EDC, it's a lot. And so it's a once in a lifetime memorable experience, but I think other festivals probably have better cultures. I don't know. I just assume.
Interesting. You've also been to Shambhala.
I haven't even been to Shambhala.
Oh, you've never been to Shambhala.
I've never even been to Shambhala. So I can't.
Have you been to any other festivals?
No, I guess I can't even fairly compare. So I've only been to that hip hop festival, the one day, and then like one day festivals locally here.
Yeah. Like Summer Sound,
or like I've been to like Lower Key, like I didn't Bring Your Love this year, and then like Folk Fest locally. But those are very different.
Bring Your Love.
But the best atmosphere that's the thing. The atmosphere is the best. Yeah. In terms of like the smaller the festival, the more communal people are, and the nicer people are. I think it's just like human group dynamics. Like the bigger the amount of people, the meaner people are gonna get. Mm-hmm. People will trample you at EDC. No one's gonna trample you at Bring Your Love. You know, it's not if someone would, they're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
I think personally that's what I find special about someone like Shambhala, because I think they're able to keep that type of clientele that's not gonna trample you. It's not gonna beat the shit out of you.
It's super hippie. People.
I don't know what the cause is exactly, but it could be because it's a dry festival, so everyone's like mollied out and not trying to like trample everyone else, or like. Yeah, but that was the first time I was going to concerts when I went to Shambhala, and I was like, and I've been to like hip hop festivals, like Soundset in.
I've always wanted to.
I've been to a couple times. Yeah. They have that's a really good, affordable.
Yeah.
Just a solid festival.
I meant to go,
but it's not like a crazy experience. It's like a 1 day thing, right? It's not like you're camping out or whatever. But yeah, with Shambhala, when you camp out, it's a dry festival, so it's like, and it's not. Now maybe a little bit more, but they don't typically have like huge headliners, huge. So it's like you attract like a different crowd of like wooks and like and like people that aren't there to start shit, I guess. And like and that's the first time I ever seen like, let's say, big person's playing on a stage. Partly because I'm kind of losing the track here, but the first time I seen people spread out in the crowd, right? Like really like. There's not like, it's not even more crowded at the front than it is at the back. Wow. Like it's just like very spread out. And you're like, oh.
It's really respectful.
And it's just like, yeah, because people don't give a shit about seeing the DJ like five meters in front of them.
There's not like some crazy rapper where like everyone's pushing.
Everyone wants to be like, I want to feel his sweat.
Piss on me.
Spit in my face. And it's like cool. You can see, and I think partly is because like, some of the light shows are better from a distance, so it's like I want to see like Pagoda Stage, one of the main ones, with like custom made lasers that like spread across the valley. You're just like, well, I want to see this from far back, not necessarily
perspective.
Front. And I'm sure like EDC has some of that too. It was more. I think that helps a lot because I saw that a little bit in Europe too, but there it's like really just spaced out because people want their space and they want to dance. And they don't want to. They don't want to be crowded.
That is the biggest problem with like clubs, and it's just like crowding and doing too tight. There can be a sense of like really warehousey vibe that's like it's nice about that. You know, really, like I got that from Prohibition. That's just close by here. It has that like old school like warehouse techno vibe where everyone's they're crammed in, but it kind of adds to the atmosphere.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
But you definitely need room to dance. If I don't have room to dance, I'm fucking out. Like,
Yeah.
That's the 99% of the reason I'm really there, is I want to dance to the music.
And back to, I think that's so cool. I wonder how you achieve that, like that warehouse vibe. Because sometimes a lot of times I see when you pack it too much, people are just sort of irritated with each other, and it starts ruining the vibe. Like the vibe just starts. That's what happened with like Input. Was like, this place is so sick, but like people are so cramped, like start getting annoyed at each other.
Vegas clubs are exactly like that. You go and you like
shit.
pay like $50 for cover. As a guy, like women get in free, but like, as a guy, you pay like $50 a cover after waiting an hour in a line, and then you get in and it's like crammed to the walls, and it's just like, it's beautiful club, but like it's super crammed in. Like it just ruins the atmosphere.
And do you find like maybe like Prohibition and stuff, it just wasn't as like
I think less people.
There's less people, and like maybe it's like more communal. They're like, okay, I'm not getting pissed off at this person or something.
Everyone's like Prohibition, because that's like an underground like house club. Everyone's there to dance. Everyone's there to see. It's DJs that like no mainstream people have ever heard of. Like people who are like seen the Tiestos have never heard of these people. They're like touring DJs who are just doing clubs. Like they're up and comers. So people there are for the vibes and for the dance to the music. They tend to be nicer.
Yeah,
real rave people.
Yeah, that makes sense because like you share a passion, and like that's the
you're like, oh, you know this person, like I know this person. It's like not many people know this person, so like you
feel more connected.
Yeah, music connects, man, in that way.
It's just like, oh my, you know Tiesto too?
Yeah,
no way.
You heard of Skrillex? Bro, I love Skrillex.
No way, I've heard him too. Oh my god, this is good bourbon.
It is, right?
Actually, I can't compare it to normal bourbon, but it tastes good.
I'm not a huge fan of bourbons, but it's very nice. It's not too sweet. I drank it way too quickly.
Yeah, you went for it. I'm like, I might be falling behind, but I feel like I'm starting to feel it.
I should have paced myself. It just tasted too good.
Yeah.
Like I actually don't even need mix. It's so delicious on its own.
Yeah, it's honestly it's a good mix. I think taking it back, I thought it was something interesting you said with you mentioned like when people go to festivals and they're still upset over like little things, and I'm just like, that's such an interesting, right? Because they say it's like wherever you are, there, wherever you go, there you are. It's like you're gonna bring all your emotional attachments or everything that triggers you along. Especially if you're getting inebriated too, that can also bring it out of you. For sure. And like all these triggers. So I don't know. It's a very, I don't know. There's a very interesting kind of question. How do you not get into that slump of like going back to your old habits, even when you're like at a place like that, or like I guess that place like that can distract you. But
I think the reason you're traveling, I think some people vacation because they're miserable. Like, I want to be happy, so take me to a place where that'll make me happy. Yeah, and like you're like waiting for the environment to make you happy, and you're like, no, everything has to be perfect. Like anything that like upsets you is like super harsh in your vibe because you want everything to go just to a T, but nothing, even your perfect utmost vacation plans will never go exactly your way, right? You need to go with the flow and just let things happen. People that overschedule vacations like ruin them, in my input. Yeah, like, I like to just let them naturally happen, and you know, there's gonna be a ton of fuck ups along the way, but if you're happy in your normal life, then you'll be happy vacationing. Yeah. But if you're going to vacation to be made happy, like, then you're gonna be sad at every negative, like,
and you're gonna put such a high bar on it. Yes,
you put such a high expectation. Expectations.
You're like, this is gonna make me happy. I think of anything to a relationship. And you're just like, fucking, this is gonna make me happy. Now you're just gonna like put such a high bar on it, and to like put fucking more stress that doesn't need to be there on yourself, on the event, on the vacation, whatever it might be, and then just kind of just start deteriorating from that event itself. But yeah, that's what I found, like with you, if you travel with like people that like they understand that it's like half the experience is what you bring to it, you know. It's like the perspective you bring to it and like the positivity you bring with it is what makes the traveling fun. Because if you don't embrace like, because it's like you're going to the unknown.
Yeah, that's what's exciting about
it. It's exciting about it, and the things are gonna go wrong, and that's kind of part of the excitement.
Enjoyment. So if you like look back on your travel experiences, it's always usually like the hardest like times, like the struggles and like things you had to overcome that like, really bring you together and like make you enjoy the experience more. You know,
those close shaves too. Were like, holy shit, that was like so fucked up.
I got arrested. Remember that whole shit? It was crazy.
Oh, remember when I got punched in the face by that guy at the concert?
Exactly. Those are the real like enjoyable moments.
Exactly. Yeah. Any close shaves that come to mind when you think of that?
No, not really. The last year we went to EDC, it was the first event in Vegas just after the or Ariana Grande shooting that had happened in Vegas. It was horrible.
Oh,
so, like,
yeah.
there was like a huge backup, and like everyone was super scared. We were scared even.
Wait, so
like there was
you went there right after?
It was like a couple months after. It was the first major event in Vegas since the shooting.
Oh my god!
So they were taking it really seriously, and like the lines were backed up hours, and maybe that was a couple years ago now, but there was like rumors of like guys walking like around with like assault rifles, and people had thought like there was actually like something gonna happen.
Oh my god!
But it was probably just
so
all
scary.
hearsay.
Yeah.
You probably just saw a cop and they're like, oh my god, this is a shooter. So that was kind of freaky. Nothing ended up happening. We ended up actually bypassing the security easily because they got so overwhelmed with people and took so much time. At a certain point, they were just like, fuck it. just go. Just go. Yeah. But like we got tons like edibles and weed in that we shouldn't have probably got. Just because they weren't probably even concerned about drugs. They're concerned about like bombs and like and guns. And thankfully at EDC there's been very few actual like disputes or like aggressions. I think there's like a record low number of arrests for EDC comparatively to like other events and festivals. Like I think they had like 30 in an entire weekend, which is amazing, right?
It's like what, 100,000 people more?
150,000 people over the entire like 3-day weekend or whatever.
Yeah,
it's crazy. So that amount of people and nobody like is a piece of shit.
Yeah,
well, most people aren't pieces of shit.
And especially like that amount of like young people raging, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
I've seen people.
Because I can see like the folk fest, like I could see low arrest rates. like everyone's just like laying there. like I don't know.
Yeah, they can't do anything. Like, I would jump that guy, but I'm way too high right now.
I'm way too chilled out. There's a banjo playing. Like why would we fight?
Try to fight somebody when a banjo's playing.
Like,
it's impossible.
You can't. So it's like, you're like asleep, someone arrests you, like, oh, what's up? But like, that amount of people, like the world's, if not the biggest, probably one of the biggest EDM festivals.
I think it's the second biggest. Next, I think Tomorrowland's the number one.
Oh, is it bigger? I love their live streams.
Yes, they're amazing. Their production value is amazing. Not that Insomniac doesn't have amazing production value, but they definitely take the cake in terms of top tier.
From what I see, is like, I think now they've really upped their game, but what I saw was like their live streams were not even at the quality of Ultra. Yeah, not even quality of Ultra's like level. But now since COVID, I think they're gonna figure that out because they have their streams are hard as shit. Like they're going in.
Yeah, they're great. I love their streams. Nice to have some outlet right now.
Exactly.
But what about you? Any close calls, close shaves?
Oh.
In terms of,
one that comes to mind. I'm sure I've had others. I've had so many. I'm probably more to the reckless side of traveling.
I wish I did more traveling. Untraveled.
I'd love to travel with you. I think you'd be a good vibe. And how me and Michelle, and if you don't know Michelle, she's my roommate that we all live with, how we reconnected. We didn't know each other for like 2 years.
Wow.
And then
that's crazy.
Because like we were friends in first year, and like 2 years went by. She did her own thing. I did my own thing. And she's like in Amsterdam, and I'm in Paris. It's like, hey, do you want to? We both had the same spring break. Do you guys do you want to go to Portugal together? I'm like,
wow,
fuck yeah. And then we went and like we traveled so well together, like such the same vibe. And I think the differences was like she's very like fast and like on top of it and like go, and I'm more like, okay, let's think about it. And like that contrast kind of actually like helped each other because it's like wait a second, it's like wait no don't do this, that's not gonna work. But then it's like we actually got things done because I'm not just sitting there like just dilly dabbling like maybe this maybe that. So it's like it was a really nice balance. And just thrived. We found some marijuana and just like toured. Portugal's fantastic, and it's just we're like in a palace over the whatever over that there's a colorful palace outside of Lisbon called Sintra, in the town called Sintra, and it's like, oh my god, I wish I could show you pictures. It's like literally every wall, like huge walls of a palace that looks kind of like a castle, are painted like vibrant like red, orange, green, blue, all these different colors all over the place. It's like kind of over the clouds, and like we're like cooked and like eating on the restaurant there, like overlooking the clouds. We're like, this is insane. That's like one example of just like, well, okay.
Yeah. So, like, how would you compare like the European nightlife and maybe even like South America? You talk about South America.
Yeah.
South American nightlife to more Western, like North American nightlife.
That's like huge. Yeah, it's something I love. I guess love to dig into, and something when I was there I was like even taking notes of. European nightlife, what they do super well is like everywhere you go has like the best lighting setup you'll ever see. Like the smallest little club, they just do it so well. I remember going like a Wednesday night to like a bunker. It felt like a bunker, and it was like a curved ceiling. What they did was like, okay, we don't have that much money, whatever. It's like they put lights along the ceiling and they put a mirror behind the DJ.
Wow.
So and the whole wall was like a mirror behind the DJ. So they really made the space look amazing, and they make the lights like, right, like when the lights go and hit the mirror, it looks like it keeps going. It's like really cool effect, and it's like wow. And then every other place has insane lights. Like when I saw Chami under in Paris under like the Alexander III Bridge, they have I think they have two clubs on either side of the bridge, which is super sick. Crazy. They had lights. They had like I've never seen so many lights because the way it wasn't set up like a normal club. It was just too rectangular for a normal club. Yeah. So it's not like a stage and then lights come out of the stage. What they did, they were like, hey, Chami's here. Put like digital screens all along the wall because it's like this, and then like Chami's here, and we're just gonna put lights all over top, and like all these things are like all over top of you, and they're just like shooting down at you to the music, and they're just so well done, and it's like each one of those lights is like thousands of dollars, and they have like hundreds and hundreds just like lining the ceiling, and you're like, how do they do this? So I think they do lights like European places. I don't know, the lighting setup, they just always get that right, but the vibes a lot of times is like not as. Like I found the best vibe is like South American clubs. And I think it's the people. I think it's the culture. Like it's a culture where you kiss someone on the cheek to like greet them when you meet someone, right? It's just like a much more like friendly culture. Plus like everyone knows how to dance, and I find that means like there's like less creepy guys, creepy on girls and just trying to grind on them because it's like they know how to talk to someone. So it's like they know how to dance with them. So it's like I don't know. That's what I saw. Obviously, I can't be conclusive, but like I can definitely be like there's just like a different vibe when you go to these different places because it's like. I don't know, maybe more charismatic or something like that, and that just helps. I think if girls feel like more comfortable there, then like everyone has a better time.
Do you think it's more to do with like atmosphere? Like they concentrate more on atmosphere than like what is like alcohol sales like in like those kind of like European and South American clubs? Is it like really based around like alcohol sales and just pushing? So I feel like our clubs here are just like. And it could be the same there. Yeah. But entirely based around how much booze can we shove down these little kids' throats as quickly as possible. And like most people going to the club just get shit-faced.
Yeah.
Like,
especially that
it's not really about
like
the
bottle
atmosphere.
service too and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's about like how drunk can we get. We're going to the club to get drunk. Yeah. The atmosphere and music is like secondary. Mm-hmm. Like most people don't care about the DJ at all at the clubs, in my experience. Yeah. Like I've gone to shows, not shows, but just average night out at the club. And like DJs are horrible. It's some of my favorite. Like 441, I went to like the last Friday hip hop I went to. He was terrible. Like, I couldn't even hear the bass. And like, how do I dance to this music? I can't even hear the bass. It's like I'm not enjoying myself if I'm not hearing good music or in a good atmosphere. It's like I'm not here just to get loaded. Like I'm also wanting to get loaded. But it's like not my only motivation. Yeah, you know, I don't know.
And it's definitely like the crowd and as you said, like the intentions are different when you go out. I feel I don't. Yeah, I don't know if people get more shit-faced at different places, but I definitely think, oh man, what was I going to say? I think in general, Europe, like, here, no one cares about DJ and, like, going out, and I think in general, when I was in Europe, I was going to, like, more housey places anyways. Like, the few normal clubs I went to did have tables, and the vibe was actually not that different than like some of these places. Similar, interestingly, the lighting's always better, but and the music was a bit better, I would say in general. And that was like the top 40. That was like the top 40 places of like the Cafe Oz's of like in Paris, which is called. Yeah. They have a chain, like 3 of them, and Yeah, like those, like the vibe, like I went there. The securities were dicks too. It's like, yeah, securities in Paris apparently dicks. I went there. They're like,
It's
maybe
universal.
take. I'm like, I already did coat check, but I was wearing like a lighter jacket on top. They tried to make me do that, and like hold me and my friend back and rip their necklace. And I was like, oh shit. And I was like creepy dudes and stuff. It's just like, But there's also some super cool people. Plus, it sounded great, and they get the lighting right. Like that stuff, they don't fuck around with. They're like, hey, this is dope.
It's probably just too much competition.
Yeah.
It's probably like you go to Europe, it's all tourism. It's everyone like looking for the hottest, coolest spot. So
Yeah.
You can't fuck around. You gotta make sure your lights are top tier.
Yeah.
Make sure you have good music.
And yeah, I think it's like they've set the standard for themselves, right? It's like now this is the standard. You can't make a club that has like shit. Like it has to sound good. It has to be like top notch everything. But I don't know. It's hard to compare because Winnipeg is also just like not. I don't think it's exemplary of clubs in North America. I would say because like there's no house
broad.
club. Yeah. And like
Well,
have you been to like Rebel in Toronto or anything?
No. I went to Toronto as a kid, but I've never. My nightlife experience outside of Winnipeg is very modest.
Yeah.
Minneapolis, Vegas. That's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen anywhere else in terms of nightlife.
Well, like Vegas is huge, so it's like that's
That's
a
like
good
the
reference
capital.
point for things.
It's a good reference point, but I think, some of the coolest buildings I've ever been into, some of the coolest clubs, but I definitely wouldn't say it's probably not the best. I don't know from my own experience, but I feel like there's way better than Vegas.
Yeah, I think it would just love Shambhala in general, but like taking it back, like Toronto, I didn't even go that hard into it. I did a boiler room event, which was really cool. That's a one-off thing, so it's not really a thing you can really compare it to. And I did Rebel, which used to be something else, but it's like the huge club in Toronto on the coast. You could like see the CNN Tower from it, and it's like,
oh wow,
they have like they have 4 rooms and like one massive like T-Pain was in the main room, and then they had a Latin American room, and then they had an EDM, like their noir section was cool, and they had like a hip hop room. So it's like a for everyone club, but I love the room thing. I love the room thing because you break it up and you can go to the different vibes. That's even what I'm trying to do with the parties. Like you have like different levels, like different vibes in each. Whatever you're into,
switch it up in the moment.
Yeah,
if you want to change your mood.
Exactly. And then they had a Latin section. At least that night they did, and that was really cool.
It's not just top.
It brought some of that because look, there's a lot of Latin Americans there. You're like, oh shit, it brought that like vibe back. I'm like, that's nice. And then the noir room was really like just good vibes and just like, oh, they brought a guy. I've never seen this done before. I've heard it done before other places, but they had a guy, like they hired a guy to play bongos along with the fucking like EDM like house music going on.
So just that guy just hanging out.
Yeah, maybe he's not hired.
Just some dude with bongos.
But I thought that was so well done. Like it would just sound so crisp when you're beside it. You're like, ooh. But I don't know. Yeah, in general, so those were good. But like, yeah, from what I've seen, like the atmosphere, at least I guess I've only been to Argentina, but I'm assuming that spreads to Latin America. It's just like that's something about it. There's just way more bullets and giraffes. There's just like the vibe is just like they're just like way better in that sense.
Cool and laid back.
Yeah, and it's just like they're just more
relaxed,
maybe charismatic, more open to like other people and like
just strangers.
Yeah, and they're like very passionate people. So if they get heated, they're gonna get heated. But they're gonna also love you like so much. It's like so you see, and like of course once we left the club, we saw the most Argentinian fight ever, which is like the group of people we were with on the way out of the club. Like this will exemplify it. It's 7 a.m. and people are chanting to stay at the club while they're kicking them out. And then they also sort of chant about like their local like soccer club, like from the part of Buenos Aires they're from.
Yeah.
And then someone else is like, fuck that soccer club. And then they start brawling. So like that shit can happen too, but it's like, wow, that was the most Argentinian way I could see it happening. You're just like, fuck that club. But just the level of passion, like it's set like here at 2 a.m. people are happy to go home. There at 7 a.m. they're chanting like stay. It just, I don't know. I love that about that culture. And even at least in Europe they go to like 6, 7 a.m. and like they go like they want there's more passion to go out.
We have passion for sports for sure here. Definitely I've seen so many almost brawls and actual brawls about hockey like in bars. Guys like acting like little children about the sports teams,
Well, I think it's an outlet too, as we talked about.
Yes, it's a way to be emotional because like as men, you know, there's very few socially acceptable ways to show your emotions, so it ends up like manifesting through sports is one of the only ways you can actually, you know, exemplify those emotions.
How do you exemplify your emotions?
How do I? Through dance and exercise and I don't know, talking them out with people, I guess. People like you, people that are easy to talk to. I don't know. I'm not as good as I wish I could be. But
about exemplifying emotions?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you find other people, like your peers, might be not, or like they're reserved, or like they hide that part of themselves?
Yeah, well, I think like traditionally masculine work environments definitely like put that shit down. Like, I work in a tire shop, like I mentioned. Yeah. It's a very predominantly masculine environment, and it's very traditional. It's like very like homophobic and like you're a little bitch if you don't like be strong, you know. It's like, and it's like
if you don't snap your back with back
if you're not destroying your body, you're a little fucking bitch. You know what I mean? So I think that like construction environments, that too, it's just like traditionally like very, it's like toxic masculinity, you know, people would call it. And I think it's reforming and progressing, but it's still a lot of work to be done. And I fall into it too. I can help it. It's like you're so much prone to your social environment, and like you'll easily be swayed by what people expect of you in that setting. You know, people expect you to be blank. You have a hard time not falling into those traits.
Especially if like you work there and you don't really have like this.
Work. I have no choice. I'm here 40 hours a week.
Like almost. I have to be here. I might as well make it as easy as possible for myself.
I want to get along with people.
Yeah.
And like, but still, I try to push back here and there. You know, I try to be nicer to younger people coming up and like be less homophobic and mean.
That makes sense.
I don't want to like shit on traditionally masculine environments because I think there's a lot of positives in traditional masculinity, and I think, you know, it's just something that needs to be reformed heavily. Like you need to reform masculinity into like a positive.
I love that, reform masculinity.
Hashtag.
Reform it.
I think traditional masculinity can be very positive, and like men taking personal responsibility and like holding their values very high. I think it's inspiring, and you know, makes me proud to be masculine in some settings.
I think it's interesting because you do get into like maybe some paradoxes too. Because within masculinity, like there's like taking care of other people is like a huge part of masculinity. Like depending on other people, not depending on other people, depending on yourself, and like responsibility, and then like being responsible for other people and like providing is a huge part of masculinity, and like. I think there's a lot of positives with that, but then it's also get tied in. It's like if you focus too much on not depending on other people, or like not reaching help, or not like
it's terrible.
Yeah, or not like at least expressing that you have issues. It's like then that can be like very detrimental, like as a part of it. But I don't know. Part of me also feels like I don't know if that will solve a lot of like, let's say if you really think about like a lot of the mental issues faced by men. It's like. I guess I feel like maybe more men's groups that like would like where they can talk to each other might help. We're like, okay, at least I'm not the only one facing this. I feel like that would probably help a lot.
Positive, and I hate that there's stigma. I think less now, but at first earlier on, like the 2010s, like stigma related to like men's groups. And obviously there's like there's men rights activists that are just trolls and pieces of shit. Yeah. But just like having men support groups, the fact that people could laugh at that, I think that's wrong. That's like, you know, there's not a single men's shelter in Winnipeg, but there's a ton of women's shelters, and if you call them up, like they're not going to help you. So like, not that they should, you know, deal with women's issues. Like I mean, they're the ones who need more help. Yeah, obviously, like
there's a need for that, of course.
There is, yes, like women more commonly in abusive relationships where they're like needing serious immediate help to be taken out of bad positions. It's harder to threaten a man, you know, physically. But I think men need their own resources too, and there just isn't many right now. So to provide those resources, I think it's positive. Yeah. I think we should be doing that.
Like it's always a question in my mind because I don't know. Yeah, I have doubts like if more resources will help. Like I think we need to focus on the right resources. I think there's so much unknown when it comes to mental health, and that's why people like focus on like. I don't know, it's like reach out, talk to someone or something like that. But like, if that's the level we're at, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, talk to someone.
But like,
if that's our understanding of it, is like that may help, right? Like that's not a bad step, but it's like there's so much unknown of like how do we actually solve this?
Yeah.
It's that's a step that is necessary, but it's like that's step one of like 15.
Talking it out is only the first step.
Yeah, and it's like what is really like gonna, I don't know, because it's like what's helped me the most. Maybe because I've already been open and like been talking a lot. Like when I go to dark situations, it hasn't been talking to people. It's more like focusing on the shit I have to handle myself and like really like handling that and like taking away negative aspects of my life and like and just being more comfortable with myself and finding that and finding resources like meditation to everything else that like help you establish that. But I don't know. What has helped you, or like what are your thoughts on
Definitely
that?
meditation, personal. I think therapy is very useful, talking to somebody. And I think because due to stigma, it's easier said than done to reach out to friends and family. I mean, family is easier, but I think there is a stigma, and like it feels uncomfortable sometimes. As I gotta like reach out to somebody about some issues. You even if they're accepting, you feel kind of like demasculated almost.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's my own toxic masculinity talking, but like
No, that makes sense.
But like having free resources for men to go talk to, or like to deal with their mental health issues, I think it's good. Like sometimes you just need to talk to somebody who will just sit there and listen to you because they have no choice.
Yeah.
I also want to burden my friends with that, and I understand to my friends it's not. They try to say it's not a burden, but it's like you don't want to be that person who's just negative to them, and like it does suck on their energy, and no one really wants to surround themselves with negative energy. So if you can like bring it out in an outlet, whether personal, like meditative, or through a therapist, I think that helps you release it, and then you can move on. You've thought it through, and you can move on. But
that is huge. Yeah, I think having the resources, make them like easily accessible too somehow.
Yes.
So it's like, right, I looked into therapy. I'm like, well, I can't afford it. I don't have benefits. I'm
expensive.
I'm like, well, maybe some other day. And I can't speak to myself about like about that. But all I know is that, like, at least in Argentina, it's more normalized, like to have a therapist or something like that. So I don't know. It would be obviously like normalizing these things will be helpful, but I don't know. I think it's always pondering in my head like, there must be more. There must be more we can do than just this. Like I don't know.
Like medicate. Like what's the?
Well, I don't think it's even like medicating. I don't know. Because when you see of like the higher rates of suicide in men, it's like there must be something that's like underlying this that we could like target. It's like I think a sense of purpose, or maybe they're feeling that they're left out of this community. They don't find a role, right? Like the masculine traits of like I need to be a provider, etc., and so on.
You don't have.
It's so much harder to be that now, or something like that. Potentially, it's like how do we provide that sense of purpose and like meaning within the lives of a lot of males that like I guess they're not finding anymore, or something like along those lines.
I think psychedelics, like speaking of my own personal experiences, helped me find meaning and purpose in my life, and I think it could help more men. I think having a really hard job that you hate and then going home and getting shit-faced and going back to that job isn't going to give you meaning and purpose. If the job doesn't, getting shit-faced,
it'll just distract you from the shit.
Exactly. But if you do psychedelics, and I don't want to just completely blanket condone the use of psychedelics because they can be dangerous, but if you do psychedelics, you'll tend to search for things that speak to you truly and for purpose and meaning, and you'll like end up maybe leaving that job that you hate and find something that actually speaks to you more, and finding things that give you passion and happiness. I think those things are huge, and through psychedelics, especially psilocybin mushrooms, I've been forced by no choice of my own to find those things. Because I had so many times earlier in my life when I would just sit there being like, what am I doing with my life? And like those questions never go away. Once you've opened that can of worms, they're there forever, and that'll just continue to bother you till you find something that really moves you and gives you like a feeling of completeness. When you're in the midst of a passion, or you have people around you that love you, there's no need for anything else. You're just content in the moment.
I think that makes sense. I think that makes a lot of sense. I feel like at least something I've been experiencing now. It's like it's that separation from maybe any hardships going on in the moment, and you can separate yourself from those if you have a greater purpose to what you're doing, right?
Yes.
If you're like, okay, well, if you sense that you have like a greater
or you feel like you've chosen the hardships.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
If the hardships don't feel like they've been thrown on you, and you're like, I don't want these.
Yeah,
that
is true.
But if you've actually chosen, like I did photo editing all day today, and it's like,
yeah,
it's work, and I'm like, I'm not getting paid for it. It's just like practice for me at this point. But like, it's work I enjoy. It's like work I've chosen to take, so it's enjoyable. It gives me pleasure. You know, if it's work that I have no choice in, but it's just being thrown onto me, I'm gonna resent it. You know.
Yeah.
So choose your battles. Choose your struggles.
Choose your own hell, kind of thing.
Yeah. Choose your own hell. Exactly.
And
this is a pretty good hell. So.
Yeah, it's not really hell. It's just drinking bourbon.
It looks like heaven, actually.
Yeah,
literally so white.
Yeah. No, man, there's so much to go into in that scenario of like what to do, and I think it's very topical because it is November. I'm trying to grow up my look, compare our facial hair.
At the end of the month, I'm going to transfer my facial hair onto Santi.
If it's possible, that would be quite amazing.
And he's gonna give me his hair.
Oh shit! It will swap. Do I get bald too?
Yeah, you gotta go bald. I gotta get the flow.
Bro, I'd
fair
go
trade.
bald.
Fair trade. That's one a day of what it feels like.
I think I have weird bumps on my head here that would just be more accentuated if I'm bald.
Definitely. That's why you wear lots of hats.
I like it. Your hats always look good at you.
You never notice.
You're like one of the few people that look good with a bucket hat. I don't look good with a bucket hat. A lot of people don't.
You have to believe you look good in a bucket hat because everyone wants to hate on bucket hats.
You gotta believe.
You gotta believe in it. You gotta believe in yourself because don't let people tear your bucket hat down. It's the same with fanny packs. It's like everyone wants to hate on them, but if you believe in it,
you just like now you start a trend, right? I want to bring in the crop tops. The other day I was wearing a female sweater.
You should definitely.
And I'm like, wait, I can bring in the crop top to the male fashion trend.
Yes. It sounds so relaxing.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good amount for a first podcast. We touched a lot of topics and
good success.
That was fantastic. We have to do some editing on. Hopefully it sounded good. Fuck yeah! Cheers on your empty cup, YOLO. Fuck it up.